Happy New Year, everybody. 2021 has been really tough in many ways, especially if you are invested in growth strategies and also with a focus on China, like I am. But I hope 2022 will just get better, and particularly so, of course, for NIO, because this is what I'm going to talk about this video. Let's speak about 2021 and the December deliveries and the annual deliveries, and then also outlook into 2022, what will happen in the industry, but particularly also for NIO. But first of all, thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You keep this channel alive and support us along the way, even through difficult times. And so I try to become more interactive in 2022. I've been struggling to keep the community feature alive, at the same time putting out new YouTube content, and then also writing my long posts on Patreon and being active on Twitter on top of that. So I'm hoping to finding some balance in 2022. And in a way, this is similar to what NIO has achieved in 2021, kind of laying the foundations of what's to come. And hopefully it's kind of the same for this channel. So going into last year, I said like my annual delivery outlook will be 85,000 deliveries for 2021. Well, it happened that in the first quarter it was much higher than I initially anticipated, and so I revised my kind of guidance here to 95,000, so just short of 100k I thought would be possible. Especially a strong Q4 ramp would possibly enable that. Then we went through the chip shortage and other issues in China, and also the global economy and COVID lockdowns and such. And ultimately, well, we landed kind of in between now, close to 92,000 delivered annually. So that's higher than my initial prognosis, but also lower to my more optimistic outlook later the year. Then on the other hand, with my investment in Tesla, I said there might be a likelihood for 1 million deliveries this year. We came kind of close to it. So Tesla really smashed this last quarter, more than 300,000 deliveries. I think this is really enabled through what Tesla China has done, as Giga Berlin unfortunately hasn't started production yet, but now Tesla really smashes those numbers. It's amazing to see from this high basis already what they have done. So very well executed, and big growth numbers there in my views. For NIO though, not really a record Q4 this time. And NIO is in a different phase than Tesla. They are not along up higher in the S-curve of ramping yet. And Li Bin just mentioned that, 2021 was kind of the year to lay the foundation of what's going to come. There were no new models to be sold, and additionally all of the struggles with preparing the factories for new models, but also having downtime due to the chip shortages. And I think what we saw in December was really just the first 10k month that actually was a real 10k production month, because previously the 10ks that we've seen reported were most likely kind of some pent-up production due to some weaker months before that, for the restructuring of the factory, but also the supply chain shortages. And then those new higher numbers came out, but we're not really showing that NIO is already at this 120k annual production capacity. But now it seems with this December 10k, this is actually the first time when we could say they're now maxed out on this single shift that they're having. But actually the factory with the double shift should now be able to do the 240k. And I think the reason why they haven't tapped into this second shift yet is possibly because this will save them margins. Because if they would have switched to the double shift already by now, then this would possibly result in more costs that need to be spread among, not a full ramp of, let's say, 20k monthly production. But I guess this is what we will see going into 2022 until NIO Park will actually resume or start production in Q3 this year. And so I think the double shift will really be initiated in the coming months for the ET7 production. That's my personal reading. Of course, I don't know it for sure, and this is just my interpretation. But this certainly is also something to watch in the next quarter, which usually is a weak quarter, right? So the Q1 usually should be below the Q4 quarter, but last year, if you remember, NIO already has done that they have actually had a stronger Q1 than a Q4 previously. And so if they want to do this again, Of course, they would now have to pump out more than 10K every month, and that would result in a big Q1 quarter. And possibly this is also another interpretation of how the management could actually plan also with the factory capacity and the monthly deliveries going into next year, also including some of the implications of the subsidies that are getting cut back. NIO has rolled out also their own subsidy scheme in order to help people that are now just ordering and not receiving their deliveries yet to still be able to receive those subsidies that are being cut back. But my take on that is that actually the subsidy cut, which is around 30%, will benefit those players that are now already in the market, like Tesla, like Xiaopeng, like NIO, who will, well, they're now in a prime time already and scaling, and just those legacy players that are coming later with electric models, they will now tap into smaller budgets for subsidies, and well, next year they're going to be entirely removed. And so I think this is really still an advantage for Tesla, NIO and Xiaopeng as of now. Now, one big problem of NIO currently is that they're still selling a vehicle platform that was introduced in 2018. And I think this is also the core reason why XPeng or Tesla are doing much better right now coping with the chip shortage, since NIO's platform is using many more chips. And Libin just mentioned that if just one of those chips is missing, then of course the car cannot be entirely built. And so this is why it's very important what's going to happen in 2022, because NIO will effectively introduce a new platform, the NT 2.0 platform, and this will also bring not only a new drivetrain and new autonomous driving vehicle platform, but also newer models. And this is now important. So NIO is kind of tapping into something that Tesla has done as well, kind of going into different market segments, but also opening new markets. So currently NIO is, besides Mercedes-Benz, Land Rover and Porsche, the car brand in China that has the highest average sales price, currently around 413,000 yuan. And this is already higher than Lexus or BMW or Volvo or even Audi. And so this is the positioning that NIO has introduced last year. And this is kind of the foundation from which NIO will now work its way into new segments. Meanwhile, if you compare this to Tesla, it is already more in the mass market with 285,000 yuan average sales price, and XPeng is much lower even than that with 236,000 yuan. And this is why I'm always saying that NIO is kind of poised to really compete with the BMWs, Mercedes and Audis of this world and kind of taking over this premium to luxury segment, while I see that Tesla is becoming something like the Volkswagen of the EV world and basically owning this entire mass market segment here, even in China. And so this year NIO will break out from just selling SUVs to also finally selling sedans. So the ET7 will first be released. So that will still be very high priced. So that average sales price may even be a little bit higher than the current average sales price of NIO. But then also later this year also introduce a more low cost or affordable product that is actually then moving down the market a little bit, and thereby also greatly enhancing or expanding the total addressable market. This will increase the volume dramatically. At the same time, NIO will keep on opening new markets, 25 markets in total till 2025. So that's a big plan there. And this, of course, will help them also increase the volumes already of the premium market which they are entering and expanding that one globally. And so with that, I think we will pretty soon see this double shift maxed out to 240 annual capacity, and then also opening up the NIO Park first stage with another 300,000 annual capacity. And in total, I think this could bring us to another 100% year-over-year growth. I know most analysts out there are more conservative. They are projecting around 150 to 160,000 annual deliveries, but I think it is actually possible to grow another 100% even at these high average sales prices, and still even with all of those big plans of introducing new car models and so on. For the risk of this year, I think there's also plenty, of course. There might be executional errors or problems regarding the management of the chip shortages, but also the expansions of the new factory. Maybe there will be delays. maybe NIO has planned too many introductions of new models, and we'll see whether or not the management will be able to cope with that. Also the implications on the costs, like if they are now ramping up the double shift as well as the infrastructure built out in order for going overseas. We'll see how this will affect the bottom line of the business. Additionally, we may face further headwinds depending on the economy in general, like in China, but also the US. We'll see like how the Fed tapering, or also the inflation, and as well as the real economy will impact let's say the purchase behavior of people worldwide. But in general, the opportunity at this point should actually overweigh the risks. And if everything works out, I think currently with the share price being that low in comparison to their competitors, NIO really is a bargain out there, depending on whether or not they can succeed as a company. Maybe the first quarter of this year, we will still see NIO struggle with keeping up with the demand and putting out those cars and making all of those switches. But it seems like the stock market at least has already, well, discounted NIO quite a bit, maybe also driven by some of those dark pool trades, the naked short selling that I've pointed out before, and that I will actually cover more in additional videos. But of course, like if this everything will play out, then I think we can be quite optimistic about the prospects also in terms of the stock price. But let's see if NIO has learned the lessons from 2021 and they really did lay the grounds for what's going to happen in 2022. Let me know in the comments whether or not you're optimistic about this year and whether or not NIO can execute on their plans and the ET5 and ET7 actually will bring the turnaround. And then I'm happy to cover NIO as well as other Chinese names and businesses like Tesla in China again this year on this channel. Thank you guys for watching. Please smash a like and share, and then see you in the next one.